Well, we've got Kinsey Schofield here, who's a Los Angeles-based royal family expert and entertainment reporter. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me, Toby.
Now, what is it, as an American, that appeals to you most about the British royal family?
You know what? I have to give credit to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle that really opened the door for me because
Hmm.
I was a news reporter. I was a
Yeah.
morning show reporter, and I felt it was a wake up with Kinsey type thing, but the news was always so heavy and
Hmm.
down. And so I just wanted to make sure that I just wanted to change my path. I wanted to be positive. I wanted to be happy, although I am
Yes.
giving Harry and Meghan a little too much credit there. But I wanted to do positive news. I didn't want to do the negative stuff, and
Hmm.
I have a history in entertainment. And Harry and Meghan really opened up that door with the entertainment and royal. They really solidified that path where you can be an
Hmm.
entertainment reporter and it gives you credibility to talk about this couple. So I once Meghan Markle was introduced to, into the picture, that's when I decided I really wanted to focus all of my energy on covering the British royal family.
Yeah. And it's interesting to progress that way, I suppose, because, once you get over Harry and Meghan, it's not really entertainment reporting anymore, is it?
Yeah, you're right, but we do have some elements. I mean,
Hmm.
there are some soapy soap opera elements when it comes to the British royal family. If you think about Prince Charles, Princess Diana, and Camilla,
Yeah.
that's there's like that soap entertainment element. I mean, everything Prince Andrew has done over the last few years, is tabloidy,
Hmm.
entertainment gossip.
Yes.
And then there, like real celebrities in the UK, they clamor towards the royal family. They
Hmm.
all want, Ed Sheeran. You're always seeing him with them. There's another one. I'm forgetting her name, but I know that Charlotte loves Shakira. So there are
Yes.
little tidbits of entertainment associated with the royal family.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it? And there's certain, like the Queen has been the Queen for 70 years now, but I've never heard any bad words said about her. It's incredible that there's no gossip there.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, they try to build gossip around
Hmm.
her when it comes to her children, which I think is so unfair because they're
Yeah.
all adults. When they've done all
Yes.
these things, they've all been adults.
Hmm.
But yeah, she seems to be untouchable.
Yeah. And 70 years on the throne is incredible, isn't it?
I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed
Hmm.
because she really has been so selfless in everything she's done. She has made her life a life of service. She's
Yeah.
not secretly fought for headlines like we know some of the other royal members have. She never leaks stories.
Hmm.
It wasn't about attention to her. It's truly always been about how she can make other people's lives better. And I think that that's really so inspiring.
Hmm. And why do you think she's lasted so long? Because I think there's I think maybe some other countries in the world where they don't do it forever. They sort of abdicate and hand it over in the end. So why do you think the Queen has sort of had this obligation to go on?
I think that she knows her father would have done it and she really
Hmm.
admired him. I think she knows that her father would have been there for absolutely as long as he could. I don't think he would have ever abdicated. Um,
Yeah.
she is just somebody that grew up in a different time where discipline was so much more important and celebrated. And, I hate to bring up Harry and Meghan again, but they they left, they quit, and
Yeah.
she comes from a generation that just does not quit. You push
Hmm.
through. And so I think that's really admirable, and I think that that is why she continues to reign.
Yeah. And I suppose maybe with Edward VIII, she sort of saw what happened there. Would that maybe influence her?
Yes, she wanted to make sure that never happened again.
Hmm.
She wanted to say, this is our family, we're going to stake this claim, and we are going to this we're going to make this our own. So that's
Hmm.
very really exciting.
Yeah. And for most people alive today, she's always been the queen, which is
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah.
No, I was thinking about that. I was even for my dad because her coronation was the year that my dad was born. And I
Wow.
was like, wow, even for my dad, she has been the queen all of his life. That's so interesting to me.
Yeah, it's one of these things that I think, when eventually she's not the queen anymore, to put it lightly, a lot of people are going to have so much grief that they weren't even expecting because she's sort of always been there.
In America, and I mean this in
Mm.
the sweetest way possible, but in America, she is like our grandma. Like she is
Mm.
like, we love her. She's perfect. We admire the way she dresses. We love her cute facial expressions. I think
Mm.
she's very much comparable to Betty White in the pop culture realm
Yeah.
of Americans. Like we just love her. She's always been there. We will be devastated when she's gone because we feel like we know her because she's been around for so long, and
Mm.
we've adopted her as our own.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of talk lately about her mobility issues, and that's sort of worrying people. But, is that worth worrying about? Because at least it's not, serious illness, is it?
Yeah, no, you're right. I think a lot of this has to do with how she struggled to watch her sister, Princess Margaret, in a
Mm.
wheelchair in public. I think that really affected her and the family negatively. They felt like it showed weakness, perhaps. So I don't necessarily, I'm with you. I
Mm.
think a mobility issue is like the least of our problems.
Yeah.
I'm glad that that's all it is. And I don't think that it's the end of the world. I think that she just would prefer not to show weakness. She would prefer to show strength. So she's
Yeah.
only going to put herself in situations where she knows she's going to excel. And that
Mm.
is a pretty good idea. Like
Yeah.
that's brilliant for that to be your strategy.
Mm. On the other hand, though, it would be a great message, I suppose, for, disability awareness if she came out in a wheelchair.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that they show that in other ways and some of the
Mm.
causes that they get behind. But she is in a position that neither one of us will ever be able to truly understand. She think
Yeah.
about going head to head with Churchill. I mean, like she seriously has had to fight for so long for respect
Yeah.
and for just to have a voice because she was a young woman when this started. So her headspace is different than ours because she had to fight a totally in a totally different world to be respected and to be heard by some of
Yeah.
the most powerful men in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, of course, you run a blog and a podcast to Die for Daily. What kind of things do you like to cover?
Yes. So, I mean, people ask me about that name. They're like, to die
Mm.
for daily. Yeah, it's pretty edgy. But it's really, I admired Princess Diana because I felt like she lived every day with her heart on display. And so that's the daily
Yeah.
part. Like, be kind, do what you can for other people. But when it comes to what we cover, I do love. I honestly, what I love most is royal books. I love
Mm.
Andrew Morton, Tina Brown. I love reading about the history of the royal family. So I'd say the majority of my website is talking to some of those authors and
Yeah.
reviewing some of those books, and just keeping up with the family. What I think is interesting in some of the pop culture aspects where they do mix with entertainment and where they do have a little bit like this. Obviously, I'm going to talk about a lot Harry
Mm.
and Meghan's Netflix pursuits and the new
Yeah.
reality show, and the Queen's Jubilee, the entertainment that's going to be provided there. So it's really kind of this pop culture mix of royal family news.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you like to read about royal history, and a lot of people have been watching it. How realistic is The Crown?
I would say The Crown is so entertaining and not necessarily very realistic
Mm.
because if you go back, I mean, specifically with the Charles and Diana story, I think they made
Yeah.
my Princess Diana look like a lunatic. And I don't think she was necessarily, I would like to imagine that she spent a little more time outside of the bathroom than The Crown
Mm.
depicts. It felt like she was hugging the toilet for 50 to 60% of the show. But I do, the Queen seems so harsh and hard on the Crown, and I don't
Mm.
necessarily think that that's the case. Um, I think that the Princess Diana and Prince Charles love triangle with Camilla was much more in depth than what we saw.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of, how do you not cover how do you not feature Princess Anne's attempted kidnapping? I mean, like that is
Mm,
like the one of the biggest things that happened to the British royal family. How that
yeah.
and you have Anne as a character. This is the perfect opportunity. So there are a couple of things missing. I think a couple of the characters are flawed, and but it's so fun to watch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't deny the fact that I love the show, but it is hard to debate people about the British royal family when that is what they think is the truth. And I'm like, that's not the way it happened.
Yeah, it's interesting about the Queen being tough, I suppose, because in the series she's quite tough on the prime ministers and stuff. And I wonder if that's actually the case because, I guess, like, officially she has the power to discipline them, but whether she does or not, I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's not just the prime ministers, which I do.
Mm.
It's always fun to watch her go head to head with the prime ministers because that I don't mind. But
Yeah.
there's this coldness about her when it comes to her children and her children hurting
Mm.
that I don't think is true and I don't like. I think she was uncomfortable when Charles and Diana came to her and said, we're struggling and we're having problems. I think it was an uncomfortable conversation to have. But
Yeah.
did she go, oh, not again? I highly doubt that.
Mm.
Like I really highly doubt that. So it's things like that. Like I don't mind her being tough in a room with a foreign leader. I don't
Yeah.
mind that at all. I don't mind her having strong political beliefs that she's having a hard time hiding. I think that's really interesting and human. But when it comes to the coldness she has towards her children, I'm really uncomfortable with that because I don't think that that's sincere. And you're trying to put this person in a negative light so that people have a negative opinion of her. And I don't think that's
Mm.
fair.
Yeah. I suppose part of the magic of the royal family is that enigma. We don't really know what goes on inside. So, when you're writing a series about this, you don't know what to put.
Exactly. Yeah. And they utilized a lot of those books that I love and read. Like Andrew Morton is participating, he's consulting in this latest
Mm.
season because this is the season where Diana secretly writes the book, season 5. And Robert Lacey has been a consultant on them too. So they do get as close as they can to experts that can give them a sense of what's gone on. But the word for
Yeah.
word dialogue is obviously nowhere near what truly transpired.
Yeah. Now, have you ever met a member of the royal family in the past?
I haven't. I'm going to the Jubilee and I
Ooh.
do have tickets in the Queen's section
Mm.
allegedly. I don't know what it technically means, but the tickets were so expensive, so I hope
Wow.
she's near.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, if I I don't know if I would I think I would be too embarrassed or shy to meet them. I don't
Mm.
know if I would like even make an attempt to shake hands or to curtsy in front of anybody. I think that I am just way too shy for that when it comes to
Yeah.
them.
Have you ever seen a member from the distance?
I don't know. I don't think so. I was
Mm.
so jealous because my friend was at the Super Bowl and I was like, you
Oh.
were in the same room as Prince Harry. But no, I haven't had that pleasure yet.
Mm.
No.
Yeah. I've got a weird one. I saw Prince Harry through a pair of binoculars once.
Wow, he would hate that. Tell me more.
Well, this was about 8 years ago at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, and he
Ah,
was sort of sitting opposite. I don't know why I had binoculars, probably just to see stuff, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Prince Harry was the least of my expectations. I
That's
think William
hilarious.
and Kate were there as well, but I didn't spot them.
Oh,
But there
that's
was
so
a
funny. So I
crowd
don't
walk
think he'd
past.
mind. I don't think he'd mind that. I just think he's
Hmm.
worried about binoculars on holiday. As long
Yeah,
as he
in the
wasn't on holiday,
bushes.
you're
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
And of course, you're celebrating the Jubilee by coming to London, as you mentioned. Are you up to anything else there apart from going to the big party?
So what I understand is that it's like a big party. I'm going to Windsor and I think I'm going to do the
Mm.
big Windsor picnic. But
Ooh.
from what I understand, it's just kind of like the biggest street party ever. So I haven't tried to make too many specific plans because I'm just prepared to pub and rage. But
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily sure if like as far as tickets, I've only got Derby tickets. I plan to do the Windsor big picnic because I decided to do 2 days in Windsor because I love it there.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that's really all I have planned. I might do some sightseeing. I love Kensington Palace and I wanted to go to one of the museums there. But when I was talking to a friend, and I wanted to go to the parade. and
Mm,
to see hopefully the queen on the balcony. But
yeah.
as far as other specific things, I'm under the impression that you just like go like the street is the party, and you're just
Yeah.
walking around making new friends.
Yeah. That's pretty much it, I think. Yeah. And what is your favourite memory of the Queen?
My favorite memory of the Queen. Well, I actually think it's Fergie and Andrew's wedding.
Mm.
And I think that Prince William is running towards their carriage, and I think she runs to grab him to stop him. And I think it's the only time I've ever seen her running. So I
Wow.
think that that's actually one of my favorite memories of the Queen. Also, this is probably not her favorite memory, but one I was really touched when they came back after Princess Diana's death,
Mm.
watching her engage with people and watch outside of the palace and like that sea of flowers. I'm
Yeah.
sure she does not consider that a positive memory, but to me, I really felt her feeling the pain of the people she was talking to. You just kind of watched her dissolve, and it was
Yeah.
emotional for me to see her get emotional. So I that really touched me to see that and that's when I was a young girl, obviously. But those are some of my favorite memories of her. I mean, I obviously just love her facial expressions. I love the way she dresses.
Yeah.
She makes the funniest facial expressions, and she knows people are looking at her, and there's a camera on her, and she'll just make these cute little faces, like So I just think she is she's a precious woman. I love her. And of course, I'm going to celebrate 70 years. It's an incredible accomplishment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, where can we keep up to date with you on your blog and podcast and everywhere?
Oh, I'm at to die4daily.com. That's TODI for daily.com, spelled normally. And
Yeah.
I have a new book coming out called R is for Revenge Dress, about Princess
Ooh.
Diana and the royal family. And that will be really fun. I hope it doesn't get me into any trouble. And yeah, so to die4daily.com is where you can find everything. And you can listen to the To Die For Daily podcast wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Great. Well, many thanks for joining us today. It's been great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. This was fun.